Okay guys, welcome back to the channel. I've just been to a kids party with reptiles and creepy crawlies. Makes a change from me saying I've just been mowing the lawn here. Brought the animals back, bits and bobs to do at the Falconry Centre. The most depressing, exciting news, if that can be a thing. So I've kind of tongue-in-cheek strung you along, told you I'm getting a new hunting partner this year, a new bird of prey to hunt with. I'll probably still fly Zeus towards the end of the season. Emily was going to fly him. She doesn't think she'll have time now. We'll see how it goes. But I want to try and something completely new. I've been kind of keeping it a bit of a secret, gradually letting the cat out of the bag over the last few weeks. A beautiful white goshawk, a Siberian goshawk, an albinus goshawk. Oh, I can't wait. It's been a long time since I've trained goshawks. They're really my falconry love before Zeus came along. I've been flying Zeus for 11 seasons now. What's put me off having a goshawk? Lack of time. They're much more higher maintenance than most of the falconry birds in their mental state, the way they behave. So they take more time on a daily basis just working with them. They're not relaxing. Birds sitting around in the weathering, oh, chill out once they're reasonably well manned, well trained, whatever. Goshawks are always fidgeting. Yeah, I like things calm. They kind of irritate a bit in that way, in some ways. But the big thing is, VHD hit Northamptonshire about, I don't know, maybe 10 years ago, and it pretty much annihilated the rabbit population. Now, there's goshawkers out there that they'll only find game birds, and I think rabbiting with a goshawk is something beneath them. For me, certainly woodland rabbiting, ferreting to a goshawk, it's some of the most thrilling slips you can get. If you've always done your goshawking by standing on a warren, then that's gonna get boring. If you get a goshawk well made to its quarry, and you set those slips up for the most exciting, decent flights you can try and get, then they become something else. And while the rabbit has always been the poor man's sport in falconry, nothing derogatory about rabbit hawking if you set it up right. But we haven't had them. But now, the last couple of years, Kyle and Tommy have been getting out. They've been finding pockets of rabbits, and now they're getting asked to actually get rid of the rabbits by the farmers. In some places, they're back up to high numbers. So we've got the quarry. We can still hawk hares as we have with the eagle, and I will hawk hares with a goshawk, but they're harder for the hawk to hold. But a goshawk takes brown hares relatively easily because of its maneuverability. Golden eagles and hares are much more of a better match if you want really exciting sport, in my opinion. I'd rather hawk rabbits with a goshawk than hares all day long. Game birds, yes, anything. The whole point is that instead of having to have half a day at least to go hare hawking with the eagle, a goshawk in the right land, you can go out for an hour, have great sport, crack on with your day's work. That's the plan. We will see. But for now, I just wanted you to see this bird growing up. It's ready to collect next week. Yay! I can go and get my new bird next week and start that manning and training. Something I've never flown before. I know it's a goshawk, but it's a different goshawk. Something I've never flown before. Next week, penciled in to go and get it from the breeder. I've even left 3 days clear in case one of them was really hot and I thought I'm not picking up on a really hot day. But now I can't. Now I can't have my goshawk. The bird I've been teasing you guys about for weeks, now I can't have it because it hasn't got its paperwork. Why hasn't it got its paperwork? Has the breeder stitched me up? Nope. The government body that is in charge of issuing documents, A10s to breeders so they're enabled to sell and move on their young birds are so far behind. I'm not going to kick the hornet's nest right now, but it is a topic. There's stuff going on in the falconry breeding community that most people wouldn't be aware of, and it's causing people a lot of grief. Breeders sometimes get a bad rap from falconers. In the UK, without people breeding all the species of birds we fly, we wouldn't be able to practice falconry. So here's a great way to stamp it out. Stamp out the breeders. We've got no falconry in the UK. There's things going on. Now, if you want to get an imprint and you want to pick it up at 2 weeks, and the government haven't turned that certificate around in 2 weeks, you can kind of understand that. A couple of weeks isn't long if you've got a lot of office work to do. But when you're picking up a Goshawk at 10 weeks old, you want it around 10 to 11 weeks old. And there's 2 reasons for that. Unlike Harrisawks, which you can keep the young in with their parents probably forever, Goshawk young, usually at the point the parents will stop feeding them, want them out in the wild, the Goshawks young don't go anywhere, do they? They're in a smallish space. They're in a breeding aviary. They often and do and will kill their own parents. So the breeder has to get those young out by around that 10 or 12 week mark. That 10 or 12 week mark. From my point of view, I want to start that bird's training as soon as it's hard penned and it's finished growing, its feathers are done, because its mind is still a sponge, an impressionable sponge. The longer it's left in an aviary, it's going to have to come out and go on its own somewhere, whether it's here or there. It can't be here because I don't have the paperwork. So the breeder's going to have to put that bird possibly in an aviary on its own. Its mind will close. It's not going to explore, see anything, get used to us. Much more difficult to train and much more difficult to get a really well-rounded, in my opinion, really chilled out Goshawk. So I really want to get that bird next week. The breeder really wants to get that bird gone next week. But even though it's took 10 weeks so far, fingers crossed things could change next week, we still haven't got the paperwork to enable us to legally move that bird. So those of you that don't know, this is how breeders, I'm not going into the subject any more than this. Breeders sold imprints for years. You want to pick your imprint up at 10 days old. There's no way the government department have issued that Article 10 certificate in 10 days. By the time it's been ready, it's not happening. So breeders have always just said, take the bird, pay for the bird. I'll send the Article 10 on as soon as I get it issued. This year, that same department that aren't keeping up with the demand are seriously prosecuting people for getting rid of those birds in all good intentions without the A10 present. Massive problems people are going through. People are getting taken through the courts, run through the mill. It's really sad that the system isn't being, breeders aren't going taking birds from the wild. The system, they're being screwed on paperwork offences, selling the birds because they've got to go now without the paperwork. Hopefully things will change and people will pull their fingers out and things will get sorted. But at the moment, this is a really bad year. And some breeders I know, really legitimate, honest guys, are being screwed over. So I'll keep you posted. Obviously, we're still going to get the bird. Obviously, it'll get here eventually. But I really wanted to put this video off for next week, showing you collecting the bird. We will do a training video on Goshawks at some point soon, I hope. But I might not do a whole 12-part series like the Harrisawk because a lot of the stuff's the same. I'll do a 1 or 2 video series condensing the main way I train Goshawks, different from Harrisawks, red tails and golden eagles. So there will be videos coming out on this bird. Stay tuned. Hope you've enjoyed seeing what I've seen, pictures of it, videos of it, as it's changed over the last few weeks. Now I'm itching to go. I'll keep you posted when we get there.